another rehab and get himself ready to come back on the floor again.
Well, Chad, this one's a little different because it is a wrist, and that's nothing like a broken leg in terms of rehab, therapy, all of those things. I think it's a easier recovery, if you can use that word. We always use it when it's not us that's injured. But, you know, the concerning thing for me is he has broken 3 bones here in 4 years. And that's just something that you don't like to see, and it makes you wonder about how brittle he is. And hopefully it's just something that's happening because he's young and he's had some bad luck. So moving forward, we'll see.
Well, I think you bring up a good point, whether it's Zach or Nurk or anybody that's had a history of injuries. How does the team approach that, where maybe they like the guy's skill set, but they also know that if you're not available to play, then that really puts the team in a bad spot. What's their focus on that?
Yeah, they always say the best ability is availability, and I think it's tough. It's tough to spend that kind of money for somebody you're not sure about. But on the same side of things, you trade somebody like that away, he goes 8 years without getting hurt, and there you are. You know, I mean, you just can't win on these kinds. They're just really difficult decisions, and your doctors have to be consulted. I think the coach has to weigh in on it, on what he feels about it. So it's going to be a tough decision for both players moving forward.
No doubt, especially here in Portland. If you trade someone away, almost guaranteed to recover no problem and become an all-star. Now, tonight, we know that Enes Kanter is going to get the start in his place. He's been here and done that before. A couple of years ago when Nurk suffered the compound fracture, he stepped in and helped lead the team to the Western Conference Finals. How do you think he'll blend in with this group, some new faces in that starting lineup?
You know, Chad, I was thinking about that today, and it worked out way better than we thought it would a couple of years ago. They get all the way to the Western Conference Finals, and when I look at the two situations, this is a better team than that one was. And that one got to the Western Conference Finals with him at center. So I think the possibilities are still pretty good that they'll continue to play well. They certainly did the last time, and as soon as they get accustomed to playing with him, and it won't take long, those new guys up front will have to get used to him, but they'll be able to help him defensively. And I think if any team in the league were to lose a high-quality center, Portland might have been in the best shape of all of them in terms of what's behind that starting center.
We know that he has limitations defensively. What areas on that end of the floor does he struggle the most?
Well, you know, mobility, Chad. He doesn't move his feet real quick. He doesn't run the floor real quick, and he doesn't go side to side real well. But with forwards who can move like Jones and Covington, he has a better chance, and they're going to be great weak side help for him, so he can commit, maybe front people a little more than Nurk did, and then get that help off the weak side.
All right, here's our bite of the night. Let's take a listen to Dame after the 111-87 loss to Indiana, talking about one of the young Blazers with an opportunity now, center Harry Giles.
But I think Harry is someone who works hard, and he's a young player. He's super talented. You know, and it's going to be a huge opportunity for him, and I think he's prepared for it. And mentally, I think he's, you know, a super confident young player. Every morning when I come into the facility, you know, he's on one of the baskets working on his game, sweating. You know, I see him putting the time in. So, you know, I think a lot of players in the league, as the season goes on, it's hard to sustain that level of work when you're not getting an opportunity. So I think it's right on time for him because, you know, he played well in the preseason. And he's been, you know, he's been in the gym. He's been preparing himself for whenever that opportunity came. And I think now is here. And I think he'll be ready for it, and we're going to need him to be.
All right, Dwight. Harry Giles, I like his attitude, and the opportunity is great for him. What's your take on his game and what you've seen from him so far?
Well, Chad, we liked him in the preseason, and I've liked what I've seen since then. But, you know, he just hasn't had consistent playing time, and he hasn't had a lot of playing time when the game is still a game. He's played in situations where it was a route one way or the other, not a lot of pressure, and not a lot of playing with starters and even a lot of second-unit guys. He's played mostly with the bench players, other bench players. players like him. So I would worry that in this situation, he might be a little uncomfortable at first, playing meaningful minutes. So I would hope he gets past that and kind of just lets himself go freely and can play like he can play, because there's ability there. There is no question about it. His versatility, his ability to defend several positions, and then just his quickness, his jumping ability, all the athletic things that he brings him to a level that the other centers didn't have athletically.
All right, we've seen in the past Terry Stotts not particularly fond of young players or players that he doesn't trust or doesn't really know. How hard will it be for Giles to get minutes on the floor under Coach Stotts?
Well, I'm assuming tonight he's going to get his 10 to 15 backup minutes, maybe more if he plays well. And that's kind of the way it is when you're coming in off the bench in that role, second quarter. If you play well, you play longer. I just hope they resist the temptation to go really small with Covington at center. I think you have to really pick your spots for that kind of lineup and at least give Giles an opportunity to show that he belongs in that role. And if they do that, I think he'll win that spot.
All right, I've gotten this question about 1 million times over the last 24 hours. What's the team going to do? Will they add another center? What's your take on that?
I think they have to, Chad. I think you need that third center just in case of foul trouble or another even minor injury to one of those two other centers. And I think there's enough free agents out there. None of them are all that good, or they'd be playing for somebody right now. But they're sitting around. They're able to sign them. And you just got to go out and find the one that's the healthiest and the best of, I wouldn't say a bad lot, the best of a mediocre lot of centers that are sitting around out there waiting for a team.
All right, honestly, Godfather, I don't feel like this injury to Nurk this time around is as devastating as I thought it was when he had the compound fracture. Big picture view on this team. I mean, how bad is the injury and what does it mean with the outlook the rest of the year?
Well, I think you're right, Chad. I think you just have to figure out a way to hold the fort until you get him back. And even if that's 2 months from now, he should come back rested and ready for the playoffs. Keep him in shape. Look, this is not a leg injury, okay? Make sure he's in the gym running, doing his aerobic conditioning so that he stays in shape, gets his weight down a little bit like he wants. And then when he gets his wrist healed, he'll be able to come back fresh and help you in the drive to the playoffs or in the playoffs. And so it's not as devastating as what we've seen in the past where you said, oh, well, he's done for the year. Not the case in this time, and hopefully they'll get him back.
Well, also, Godfather, if, let's say that, I thought going into the year this was a top 4 team in the West. That may not be the case now with the injury to Nurk, more than likely, but in a year where we're facing a pandemic, there's not going to be fans in the stands. I'm wondering, does a 4 or a 3 seed matter as much as a 6 or a 7 in a year where you're not going to be facing that hostile environment?
Chad, my feeling on that is that the seeding won't matter as much this year, assuming that there are still not fans in the stands, and I believe that will be the case in the playoffs. No fans or very few fans, not enough fans to influence referees or the outcome of a game. If that's the case, home court's not going to mean as much. We've seen already this year, home court doesn't mean as much. So in the playoffs, I don't know if it's worth blowing out players, getting them all tired just to try to get a 3 seed instead of a 4 seed or something like that. I just think you go in, if you're full strength and healthy, that's the main thing this year. Don't worry so much about the seed. Stay out of the play-in game, but just get that seed that gets you into the playoffs.
How tempted will Stotts be to play Dame and CJ big minutes the rest of the way?
Well, that seems to be a constant, Chad. He doesn't let up on those minutes because he has to win games, and those guys have to play pretty much for him to win games. And he's not willing to let a game go once in a while, lose a war to win the battle, or you lose a battle to win the war, whatever you prefer. So I think they will continue to be among the leaders in the league in minutes played.
I tend to agree with you on that. All right, what's the Trailblazers' response going to be tonight against the Hawks after the injury to Nurk? We'll find out next. But also, download and subscribe to the Talking Blazers podcast with Channing Frye and Dan Sheldon. New episodes drop each and every Friday. The guest this week is former NBAer, Seattle native and NBC Sports California analyst Doug Christie. Digital innovation to walk us through the experience. Let's take a look.
All right, Brandon, so what should fans expect with Blazers home court?
So Blazers home court really is an opportunity to have a second screen experience while you are watching the game. So we sorely miss having Blazers fans at Moda Center. And while we still have the broadcast where fans can tune in and watch the game, there are some things that just don't make it to television. Talking to other fans at the arena, watching player warm-ups, participating in fan contests, all that kind of goes away when you're watching from home. So that's really what we're hoping to bring to fans with Blazers home court. So one of the big things that we're doing this season is we're bringing back Beat the Buzzer, which we had in the bubble this past summer, where fans can compete against each other to predict the action on the court. If they happen to get all 20 questions right, they will win a 2021 Toyota Highlander, thanks to our friends at Toyota. So there is a big prize for fans that are willing to press their luck. And then we plan to bring on other Blazers personalities and alumni along the way. So expect to see Casey Holdahl dropping into the chat. We might have Todd Bosma drop in, or Brooke Olzendam, or any of the other folks from NBC Sports that are willing to join us along the way.
All right, thanks a lot, Jamie. Dwight, what are you looking for tonight? What do you think the response will be from this group? Will they come out flat, emotionally drained with the 24-point loss and the loss of Nurk, or are they going to come out energized?
Well, I expect a jolt of energy, Chad. I think they have to come out strong in this one. You know, Atlanta played last night and played poorly last night. And I think this is one of those games against a back-to-back team where you have to come out strong in the first quarter, bury them right off the bat. Don't leave them any hope. Just allow them to kind of quit and rest all their players and just quietly take the loss. Don't let them stay in the game all the way, because then you'll get their starters longer minutes, and, you know, it's not going to work out so well. So come out, take care of business in the first quarter.
Trae Young, struggling of late, put up just 4 points last night on 1 of 11 shooting. What Trae Young do you expect to see tonight?
Well, he's not going to go 1 for 11 again. I can guarantee you that, Chad. He's a better player than that. And I know recently he's just been terrible. And he got off to one of the best starts of anybody in the league. And he turned it around in the wrong way. And I don't know exactly the answer to that. He's not getting to the foul line anymore. He's not making shots. His game has just kind of fallen apart. But don't look for another 1 for 11. Look at this in January, Chad.
Yeah, he's slumping without question. I've heard that's because one of his idols, Steve Nash, made comments about, you know, some of his contact and how he's been getting to the free throw line. And since then, he's gone into a bit of a dive. But aside from the slump, what are your thoughts on the way he's played throughout his young career? A lot of people were curious how his game would translate to the NBA.
Well, he's really quick, and at times he's looked like a shot maker. He's a very good passer. He has all the ability in the world. I think he's a premier player. He's going through a tough time right now. I think Steve Nash got under his skin a little bit, bothered him a little bit, and as a young player, you can't let that happen. Yeah, veterans and veteran coaches and young coaches, they're all going to try to get inside your head. You can't let that happen. You just got to be you. And I think Trae Young will find himself here very shortly. The Blazers have to hope it's not tonight, because a 1 for 11 from the field can kind of do funny things to you, either turn you around in a good way or turn you around in a bad way.
All right, for more on the Hawks, let's take a listen to head coach Terry Stotts a few moments ago in pregame.
Well, you know, obviously without Bogdanovic and Gallinari, they're not the team that they expected to be because those were 2 big signings. But what I do see is a team that plays hard. They great rebounding team. They pass the ball well. They move the ball well. You know, it's I think they're a difficult team to play against because of the style that they play offensively. They get to the free throw line. So that's, you know, they're still a young team without the addition of Bogdanovic or Gallinari. They're still a relatively young team, but I think they can be a very difficult matchup. Well, from our defensive standpoint, it's all you have to do is look at their stats and know that we have to limit their second chance points, their offensive rebounding, and keep them off the free throw line. And we've had issues with letting teams get to the free throw line, so that's going to be a concern for us.
Hey, Dwight, what jumped out at you there and Coach Stott's comments about the Hawks?
Well, they haven't been a difficult team to play against for 5 out of the last 6 teams who played against them because they've lost those games. I think they are a difficult team when they have all their bodies.
Yeah.
But I think this is a team, look, they're not going well. They've been on the road for a while. They lost last night in Utah. They had to travel here. Come on now, this is a game you got to win. This is the kind of game they gave away last year. You don't want that kind of stuff happening again this year.
Well, one thing that's not slumping is Papa John's Pizza. It's time for your ingredients to victory, Dwight. It's brought to you by Papa John's. What's the key for Portland to get the win?
Oh, how about the old standby, Chad? Make more threes than they do, and they'll take a few.
Yeah.
But that's the deciding factor almost every night. So it's going to be my go-to. Just kind of like pepperoni pizza is my go-to. I'll go to the three-point line for a deciding factor.
You're going to go thin crust, deep dish, original. What's your preference?
Yeah, don't care. I like to alternate them a little bit. Change it up once in a while.
I like that, though. You're becoming predictable like Coach Stotts. It's like, hey, Chad, defense and three-point.
We're going to hear from players, coaches, see your tweets on television. We got a lot more to get to. Rasheed Wallace, Bonzi Wells.
That's the reaction we were looking for.
Can I get a headband, one for my peeps?
You're watching NBC Sports Northwest.
The following sports presentation is a production of Blazers Broadcasting.
Now steps back for a deep three and makes it from 35 feet. Damian Lillard drills it. Bounce back to Simons. He pulls up 3 top of the key and buries it. And Anthony Simons is on fire. Now he drives down the right side of the lane. Fades away, floats in. Good. And the foul. Steps back from 16. Makes it. High off the glass and through.
Welcome to the Trailblazers Toyota Tip-Off Show.
Nurkic there with the slam.
Leading us right up to the game alongside Michael Holton, here is your host, Brooke Olzendam.
The Blazers are getting ready for their second game of this homestand this Saturday evening. They'll look to take down the Atlanta Hawks tonight for their 8th win of the season. Saturday Night Hoops at Moda just for you. You gotta love it. Hey everybody, and welcome to the Toyota Tip-Off Show. This is Michael. I am Brooke. The news we do need to address, if you haven't already heard, Jusuf Nurkic will be getting surgery, out for, it appears, at least 8 weeks. So it's unfortunate, Michael, but the show, it just must go on. So how do they get the win tonight against Atlanta?
Well, I think the team is going to have to focus on the defensive end while they recalibrate how they play offensively without Nurk.
And taking a look at the team comparisons tonight, man, I follow obviously the West a lot closer than I do the East. Those numbers from the Atlanta Hawks are impressive.
Well, they rebound the basketball. I mean, they're a team that almost knows that they're going to struggle from a field goal percentage offensive standpoint. They attack the board, the offensive board, hence the 16 second chance points.
For more on tonight's matchup, let's throw it on over to Jordan Lamar. Guys?
When you look at the offseason grades, Lamar, that a lot of teams got for some of their acquisitions this year, Portland Trailblazers at the top of that list, and a lot of people excited about what Atlanta did. They brought in some veteran pieces that can complement this young core, and they feel this young core with another year of experience can finally turn the corner this year, and we've seen one of the more explosive offenses in the NBA.
They have some real firepower. We won't see it all tonight because some guys are injured and out for other reasons, but they still have enough out there that excites their fan base, and it's led by Trae Young, Ice Trae, as they call him in the ATL. Shoots the three, gets to the basket, gets to the free throw line as well as anybody in the league. Had some really crazy numbers at the line we'll go through during the broadcast. His first 4 games, it has tempered down a little bit since then, but he's capable of going off, exploding, and winning a game for the Hawks if he gets hot. He has a crime partner too, John Collins. His scoring is down this season about 5 points per game from where it was a season ago. He still shoots 36% from the three-point line. He still rebounds well. He's athletic. He plays with force. He plays hard. As a duo, those two are good enough. So then if you add in a third person in DeAndre Hunter, you understand why the Blazers will come into this game with a lot of respect for the Hawks. This second-year player is special, has NBA size and athleticism already, will defend against some of the league's best guards and wings. He's shooting 41% from the three-point line. And Jordan, that was a question of his game coming out of Virginia where he won a championship. Can he do it at the NBA level? And he is doing it indeed.
Two different bench units going two different directions. The Hawks, 9th worst in the NBA. The Blazers, a lot of improvement this season. But Brooke and Michael, all 5 starters for the Hawks averaging double figures. Any one of them can go off for a big night tonight.
And Lamar, the Hawks, one of the best rebounding teams in the league, but they haven't seen the likes of Enes Kanter.
That's right.
What do you want to see from him tonight?
Just the same stuff from Enes. Enes is Mr. Consistent. You know what you're going to get. You're going to get the hustle. You're going to get the production. And now he'll have more minutes with which to operate.
You know, Jordan, Trae Young is that creative ball handler that people know about, very entertaining. He's learned how to get to the free throw line. Do you think that can be problematic for the Blazers tonight?
I think so. He puts a lot of pressure on your defense with his dribble penetration. And we saw a game earlier this season. He had 37 points, only took 12 shots. So he doesn't need to shoot threes to get his scoring. He can get to the free throw line, so you always have to be ready as a defense.
Time now to go around the perimeter. Lamar, let's start with you.
I think this is a game made for Gary Trent Jr. A lot of perimeter-oriented basketball from the Hawks. You can expect to see that. So you need a guard dog like Gary out there locking things down, and he'll score on the other end. Double-figure scoring.
I look at Dame and CJ. The Pacers did a fine job on them, holding them to just 44 points combined. This has that feeling of a game where Jusuf Nurkic is out. You want to set a new tone, especially with all these home games. Dame and CJ go for 60-plus combined. I think a big night for the two of them.
Ooh. Good picks, guys. Brooke, I'm sorry. You don't even have to tee that up. I just jump right in. The water's warm. I think part of the collective response to playing without Jusuf Nurkic for the first night is going to happen on the defensive end. Points off turnovers. I think the connection is going to turn over the Hawks.
I'm talking about rebounding so much tonight, but that is because, again, the Hawks are a very good rebounding team. They average 12 offensive rebounds.
NBC Sports Northwest. The official network.
The official network.
The official network of the Portland Trail Blazers.
Hey, Rip City, the Blazers are back. Get the My Teams app by NBC Sports. This is the app for everything Blazers. Head to NBCSportsNorthwest.com to learn more. NBC Sports Northwest is the official network of the Portland Trail Blazers.
Thank you so much for your time. It's warm-up. I'm pumped.
You are the captain. You are steering this ship.
They wanted a chance, and then boom! It doesn't get any better than that. A little bit of Chad goes a long way.
That's what I've always said.
Show me your Blazer.
And here is our Rip City United season ticket holder of the game. Eric and Madison Barry Sellers have been season ticket holders for 5 seasons. In their time cheering on the team, they have seen some unforgettable moments, but their favorite was Dame's game winner against OKC. Their favorite Blazer is Rudy Fernandez. Curveball. Eric and Madison, thank you for your support over the years and for being a part of Rip City United. Rudy Fernandez, that's a blast from the past. Enes Kanter starting now for the injured Jusuf Nurkic, but we continue to talk about his solid play this season. He's just a walking double-double. I think I saw a graphic of that on Twitter, so I liked it. I liked it a lot. Looking at these numbers, and again, this is from him coming off the bench, Michael.
Offensive rebounding is such a positive skill to have because you extend possessions. You keep teams from fast breaking against you because they have to block you out.
And of course, that we keep mentioning Atlanta's such a good rebounding team. So how important will it be for Enes to, get a body on somebody, which he's already so good at.
Yeah, Enes is always around the rim and his hands are high, so that's going to be key. The physicality of blocking out is going to be important because if Atlanta can't get the offensive rebounds they're accustomed to, they're going to have to play a lot of transition defense.
Well, earlier I did catch up with Coach Stotts. We talked about taking on Trae Young and the Hawks, but first I asked him how he felt when he got the news that Jusuf Nurkic would be out for at least 8 weeks.
Well, as I said after the game, it's very disappointing and frustrating for him and for us. It's a blow to us, certainly, because he was rounding into shape and he was playing well for us. But more importantly, for me, was the fact that what he went through to get back after the injury that he had to his leg and came back in the bubble and played well. It's just another setback that's very dejecting.
Yes, very disheartening. Coach, where do you go from here in terms of filling his spot?
Well, obviously, Ennis will start tonight. Harry Giles will get some run at 5. We might play Robert Covington at 5. He played 5 all year last year, most of the year last year with Houston. So, we'll play some small lineups, but obviously Ennis and Harry will be the first guys.
And for lack of a better term, I guess it is somewhat interesting that this happened a couple years ago. Ennis was here, and he did a pretty good job. So if we're looking for a silver lining, there is one.
Yeah, Ennis started all throughout that playoff run to the conference finals, so we know he's more than capable of filling that role, and that is encouraging for us, is that we do have positive experience with that role.
And looking to Atlanta there in the top 5 in rebounding and second chance points, which makes sense. So how important will it be for you guys to find a body and crash the boards tonight?
We certainly discussed that and emphasized that they rely on easy points. They're not easy, but they go after offensive rebounds. They get out in transition. They get to the free throw line. So all those things are going to be very important for us.
And Trae Young is probable. So if you do see him, how will you look to defend that dynamic young talent?
Well, try and take away some of his tendencies, limit his good looks, make him difficult, covering his pick and rolls. But the biggest thing with any score like that is make things as difficult as possible, put different players on, different tactics in pick and rolls.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck tonight.
All right, thank you.
And Michael, when I think back to that shot that Dame made against OKC to win it all, and they're running around and they're jumping on each other, there's a dog pile, and I see Enes Kanter's face. So it's so nice that there's a familiarity there for Enes and with Dame and CJ as well.
Well, Brooke, I'm glad you referenced the dog pile that Enes was a part of, because he's the dog pound now. He is going to have to defend the painted area for the Blazers and keep the Hawks honest.
And looking at those numbers, I mean, again, that's when he was here in his last stint. So if he can continue to put up numbers like that, that's a good thing.
They're great numbers, but the field goal percentage at 61% is what is key.